The sun was hot in the sky as Ryan Thompson rode his black motorcycle down Maple Street. People walking on the sidewalk moved away when they heard his engine. Ryan liked that feeling. He liked when people were afraid of him. Ryan was 30 years old with many tattoos on his arms and a long beard. He wore a black leather jacket even in the summer heat. His motorcycle was big and loud. He had changed it to make the sound even louder. The noise would wake babies from sleep and make old people cover their ears. Every day, Ryan rode through the quiet neighborhoods of Los Angeles. He went too fast and made too much noise. He did not care about stop signs or red lights. When people honked their car horns at him, he just laughed and drove even faster. The police had been called many times. People wrote down his license plate number and told the police about the scary man on the black motorcycle. But Ryan was smart. He never stayed in one place too long. By the time police cars arrived, he was already gone. Today, Ryan was feeling extra bold. He had not eaten breakfast, and he was in a bad mood. His boss at the car shop had told him he would lose his job if he was late one more time. Ryan did not like being told what to do, so he called in sick and took his motorcycle out instead. He drove past Lincoln Elementary School just as the kids were playing outside for recess. Teachers blew whistles and waved their arms, trying to tell him to slow down. Ryan just revved his engine louder and popped a wheelie, riding on just his back wheel as he passed the playground fence. A crossing guard stepped into the street, holding up her stop sign. She was an older woman with gray hair. Her name was Martha, and she had been helping kids cross safely for 15 years. She stood in the middle of the road, blocking Ryan's path. Ryan did not slow down. He aimed his motorcycle straight at her, playing a game of chicken. At the last second, Martha had to jump out of the way. She fell and hurt her knee on the hard road. Ryan laughed as he sped past. A man helping Martha up looked at Ryan with angry eyes. "Someone needs to stop that guy before he really hurts someone," the man said. But no one thought they could stop Ryan Thompson. He seemed too wild, too dangerous. Next, Ryan headed toward Westside Park. It was Sunday, and he knew the park would be full of families. Scaring people at the park was his favorite weekend activity. He liked to ride on the grass and do circles around the playground. He enjoyed watching mothers grab their children and run. What Ryan did not know was that today would be different. Today, someone special was at the park. Someone who would not run away. Someone who would not be scared. As Ryan turned the corner toward the park entrance, he saw many cars in the parking lot. Good, he thought. Lots of people to bother. He sped up and popped another wheelie as he crashed through the gate. The security guard at the entrance yelled and reached for his radio, but Ryan was already racing toward the picnic area. Families were spread out on blankets, eating lunch and enjoying the nice weather. Children were playing on the swings and slides. Everyone was having a peaceful day at the park, until Ryan arrived. The sound of his motorcycle made everyone look up. Parents began to gather their things. Grandparents stood up from benches with worried faces. Ryan circled the grass, leaving ugly tire marks on the green lawn. He headed straight for the playground, ready to cause more trouble. He had no idea that his actions were about to catch up with him. He had no idea who was watching from a nearby bench. He had no idea that in just a few minutes, his life would change forever. The man sitting on the bench near the playground was not like the other fathers. He wore a simple black t-shirt and dark sunglasses. His arms were strong, and his head was shaved clean. He watched his two children play on the slides. Most people did not notice him at first. He liked it that way. This man was Jason Statham, the famous movie star. In films, he fought bad guys and drove fast cars. He jumped from tall buildings and won big fights. But today, he was just a dad taking his kids to the park. When Ryan drove his motorcycle onto the playground grass, Jason sat up straight. He did not like what he saw. The biker was getting too close to where children were playing. Some kids ran away crying. Parents pulled their little ones back from the swings. Jason watched as the park security guard tried to stop Ryan. The guard was an older man who walked with a limp. He waved his arms and shouted, but Ryan just laughed and drove circles around him. The poor guard nearly fell down trying to catch up. An ice cream seller had set up his cart near the playground. Ryan drove straight toward it, making the seller jump back in fear. The cart tipped over, and ice cream spilled all over the ground. Children who had been waiting in line began to cry. Ryan just laughed louder. Next, the biker headed for the sandbox where Jason's daughter was building the castle. She was only 4 years old and did not see the danger coming toward her. Other children scrambled away, but she kept playing with her bucket and shovel. Jason moved faster than anyone expected. In 3 long steps, he was off the bench and running toward his daughter. He scooped her up just as Ryan's motorcycle sprayed sand everywhere, ruining all the children's sandcastles. "Daddy, the bad man broke my castle," his daughter said with tears in her eyes. Jason's face turned serious. He handed his daughter to his wife, who had run over with their son. "Take them to the car," he said calmly. "I will be right back." Ryan was now driving in wide circles around the whole playground. People were gathering their things and leaving. Some were on their phones, calling the police, but everyone knew the police would come too late, just like always. Jason walked to the middle of the playground and stood still. He crossed his arms and waited. Ryan saw him and drove straight at him, expecting him to jump away like everyone else did. But Jason did not move. He stood like a rock in Ryan's path. For the first time, Ryan felt unsure. He had to turn at the last second to avoid hitting the man. The sudden turn made his motorcycle skid, and Ryan almost fell off. Angry now, Ryan circled back. He stopped his bike a few feet from Jason and revved the engine loudly. The noise was like a roar, but Jason did not even blink. "Get out of my way," Ryan shouted over the engine noise. Jason took off his sunglasses slowly. Now Ryan could see his eyes. They were cold and hard, like in his action movies. But this was not a movie. This was real. Some people in the park recognized the famous actor now. They took out their phones to record what was happening. No one had ever stood up to the biker before. "Do you know who I am?" Ryan shouted, trying to sound tough. Jason stepped closer to the motorcycle. He was not afraid. He had faced real dangers in his life, not just in movies. A bully on a motorcycle did not scare him. Ryan revved his engine again, trying to intimidate Jason. But it did not work. Instead, Jason reached out and put his hand on the motorcycle handlebar. His grip was strong. The park became very quiet. Everyone was watching. Even the birds seemed to stop singing. No one knew what would happen next. The people at the park held their breath. No one had ever stood up to Ryan before. Children peeked from behind their parents. Phones recorded everything. This was the moment everyone had been waiting for. Ryan tried to pull his handlebar away from Jason's grip, but Jason held on tight. His arm did not move at all. Years of working out for movie roles had made Jason very strong. "Let go of my bike," Ryan said. His voice was not as confident now. Jason looked straight into Ryan's eyes. When he spoke, his words were clear and calm. Each word seemed to hit Ryan like a small punch. "Not here. Move on." Just 4 simple words, but the way Jason said them made them powerful. He did not yell. He did not threaten. He just stated a fact. The playground was not a place for Ryan's bad behavior. Ryan looked around. For the first time, he noticed the scared faces watching him. He saw mothers holding their children close. He saw the mess he had made of the sandbox. He saw the spilled ice cream from the cart he had knocked over. "Do you know who I am?" Ryan asked again, trying to sound tough. "I know exactly who you are," Jason replied. "You are a man on a motorcycle who is scaring children in a park. And now you are leaving." Ryan revved his engine again. The noise was very loud, but Jason did not blink or step back. Instead, he leaned in closer. "There are children here," Jason said. Good people trying to enjoy a Sunday. If you want to show off, find somewhere else. Ryan looked at Jason's face. He recognized him now. This was the famous action movie star Jason Statham. The man who fought bad guys on screen was now facing him in real life. "You think you are tough because you make movies?" Ryan asked, but his voice shook a little. Jason almost smiled. "I think you should leave before the police come. They have been called. And unlike me, they will not just ask you to move on." A small boy who had been watching ran up to Jason. "Are you really Jason Statham?" he asked with big eyes. Jason nodded but kept his eyes on Ryan. "Yes, I am. But right now, I am just someone who wants this park to be safe for you to play in." The little boy looked at Ryan with a serious face. "My mom says you are a bad man. She says you almost hit my friend Tim yesterday." Ryan looked down at the boy. Something changed in his face. For a moment, he did not look angry anymore. He looked ashamed. The sound of police sirens came from far away. Someone had called the police, and this time they might arrive before Ryan could escape. "Last chance," Jason said quietly. "Ride away now. Find a better way to use that bike." Ryan looked around once more. Everyone was watching him, but they were not afraid now. With Jason standing there, they felt safe. Ryan was the one who looked unsure. Slowly, Ryan turned off his motorcycle engine. The sudden quiet in the park felt strange. Birds could be heard singing again. "Fine," Ryan said. "I will go." Jason took his hand off the handlebar and stepped back. He gave Ryan space to leave. Ryan started his engine again, but instead of racing away fast like he usually did, he rode slowly toward the park exit. People moved out of his way. Some of them clapped for Jason. At the gate, Ryan stopped. He sat on his motorcycle for a long moment. The police sirens were getting louder. He had to decide what to do next. Ryan sat on his motorcycle at the park gate. The police sirens were getting closer. He could run away like he always did, or he could stay and face what he had done. For the first time in years, Ryan was not sure what to do. He watched as Jason walked back to his family. People at the park patted Jason on the back. Some asked for pictures with him, but Jason just smiled and said he needed to check on his kids. Ryan turned off his engine again. He got off his motorcycle and took off his helmet. Without the helmet and the roaring engine, he looked different. He looked younger and less scary. His face showed confusion and shame. The first police car arrived at the park. 2 officers got out and looked around. They saw Ryan standing by his motorcycle and walked toward him. Ryan did not try to escape. "Are you the man riding the motorcycle in the park?" one officer asked. Ryan nodded. "Yes, that was me." The officer took out a notepad. "We have many complaints about a man on a black motorcycle causing trouble all over town. Is that also you?" Ryan looked down at the ground. He did not answer right away. Then he looked up and saw Jason watching from across the park. Their eyes met. "Yes," Ryan said finally. "That was me too." The officer wrote something in his notepad. "You are in a lot of trouble, sir. Reckless driving, disturbing the peace, destruction of property, endangering children." The list of charges was long. Ryan listened without arguing. He knew he deserved it all. "I understand," Ryan said. The second officer was surprised. "You are not going to deny it. Most troublemakers deny everything." Ryan shook his head. "No, I did those things. I was wrong." The officers looked at each other, confused by Ryan's honest answer. They asked him for his ID and went back to their car to check his record. While the police were busy, Jason walked over to Ryan. People watched with interest as the movie star approached the biker. "Why did you stop?" Jason asked. Ryan looked at him. "What do you mean? You could have run away before the police came. Why did you stay?" Ryan thought about it. "I am tired of running," he said. "I am tired of being the bad guy." Jason nodded slowly. "What made you start acting this way?" he asked. Ryan had never told anyone his story, But something about Jason made him want to talk. My brother died 2 years ago in a motorcycle accident, Ryan said. He was a good rider, always careful, always followed the rules. A drunk driver hit him anyway. Ryan's voice became quiet. After that, I was so angry. I thought, why be good when bad things happen anyway? So I became the thing that scared other people. I wanted everyone to feel afraid, like I felt. Jason listened without judging. When Ryan finished, Jason put a hand on his shoulder. I lost someone too, Jason said. My best friend died when we were young. I was angry for a long time. What changed? Ryan asked. I found better ways to use my anger, Jason said. I put it into work, into helping others, into protecting people instead of scaring them. The police officers returned with Ryan's ID. Mr. Thompson, we need to take you to the station now. Ryan nodded. He looked at Jason one more time. Thank you, he said, for stopping me before I really hurt someone. Jason watched as the police led Ryan to their car. The rest of the people at the park were already going back to their activities. Children returned to the playground. The ice cream seller was cleaning up his cart. Things were going back to normal. But for Ryan, nothing would be normal again. The police station was busy that Sunday evening. Ryan sat on a hard chair in a small room. He had been there for 2 hours. The officers took his statement and wrote down everything he said about his motorcycle riding. Mr. Thompson, your record shows this is not your first time in trouble, said Officer Garcia. She was a serious woman with short hair and kind eyes. But it is the first time you have turned yourself in. Ryan nodded. He felt strange sitting in the police station without handcuffs. The officers had been surprised when he came with them without fighting. We have calls about your motorcycle from 10 different neighborhoods, Officer Garcia continued. The judge will not go easy on you. Ryan looked down at his hands. I understand. Officer Garcia studied him. What changed today? Why did you stay when we came? Ryan thought about Jason Statham standing in the park. He thought about the 4 words Jason had said to him. Not here. Move on. Those words kept playing in his head. Someone helped me see what I was doing, Ryan said. He did not yell or fight. He just stood his ground. Before Officer Garcia could ask more questions, the door opened. A tall man in a suit walked in. He had gray hair and glasses. I am David Wilson, the man said. I am a lawyer. I am here for Ryan Thompson. Ryan looked up in surprise. I do not have a lawyer, he said. David smiled. Someone has paid for my services. I will be representing you. Officer Garcia stood up. Mr. Wilson, your client is facing serious charges. David nodded. I understand. But I also understand that he turned himself in and is cooperating fully. That should count for something. While they talked, Ryan wondered who would pay for a lawyer for him. He had no family left. No real friends. Who would help him? After more talking and paperwork, David told Ryan some news. The judge has agreed to let you out tonight. You have a court date in 2 weeks. Until then, you cannot ride your motorcycle. You must report to me every other day. Ryan could not believe it. I can go home. David nodded. Yes, but one more problem and you go to jail. Do you understand? I understand, Ryan said. But who hired you? David gathered his papers. My client wishes to remain anonymous. Ryan followed David out of the police station. It was dark outside now. The street was quiet. How will I get home? Ryan asked. My motorcycle is still at the park. I will drive you, David said. And tomorrow, we will talk about your case and what happens next. As they walked to the parking lot, Ryan saw a black car waiting. The window rolled down. Inside was Jason Statham. You? Ryan asked in surprise. Jason nodded. I wanted to make sure you were okay. Ryan felt his eyes get wet. No one had cared about him for a long time. You hired the lawyer. Everyone deserves a second chance, Jason said. I talked to the police after you left. Told them you had a change of heart. David opened his car door. "I will give you two a minute to talk." When they were alone, Ryan had to ask, "Why are you helping me? I nearly hurt your daughter." Jason looked serious. "But you did not. And when it mattered, you made the right choice. Now you have a chance to make more right choices." Ryan did not know what to say. "Thank you" did not seem enough. "The lawyer says I cannot ride my bike," Ryan said. Jason almost smiled. "Not for now. But maybe someday when you learn to ride it the right way." Ryan thought about that. The right way. "Bikes are not for scaring people," Jason said. "I have one too. I ride it on tracks, in safe places. Maybe someday you can do that too." For the first time in years, Ryan felt hope. He had a long way to go, but maybe there was a path forward. "I should go," Jason said. "My family is waiting." As Jason drove away, Ryan watched the car until it disappeared. Then he got into David's car, ready to go home and think about what would happen next. 2 weeks passed quickly. Ryan spent most of his time at home, thinking about his life. He only left to meet with David, his lawyer, or to go to his job at the car shop. His boss had been surprised when Ryan started coming to work on time. "You seem different," his boss said one day. "More focused." What happened? Ryan was not ready to tell the whole story. "I met someone who helped me see things differently," was all he said. The day of his court date arrived. Ryan put on his best clothes, which was not much. He had a clean white shirt and black pants. He combed his hair and trimmed his beard. When he looked in the mirror, he hardly recognized himself. David picked him up early in the morning. "Remember what we talked about," David said as they drove to the courthouse. "Be honest. Show that you are sorry. Tell the judge what you plan to do differently." Ryan nodded. He was nervous. He had been in court before, but he had never cared about the outcome. This time was different. This time, he wanted a chance to do better. The courthouse was a big building with many steps leading to the front door. Ryan felt small as he walked up those steps. Inside, many people moved around, talking in quiet voices. "This way," David said, leading Ryan to a large room. The courtroom was almost full. Ryan was surprised to see so many people there. Then he realized why. In the back row sat Jason Statham. Next to him were some of the parents from the park. Even the ice cream seller was there. Judge Williams entered the room. Everyone stood up. She was an older woman with white hair and a serious face. When she sat down, everyone else sat too. "Case number 347, the clerk announced. "Ryan Thompson, charged with reckless driving, disturbing the peace, and endangering public safety." Ryan stood up when David told him to. His legs felt weak. "How do you plead?" the judge asked. "Guilty, Your Honor," Ryan said in a clear voice. The judge looked at him over her glasses. "Mr. Thompson, you have quite a record. This is not your first time in my courtroom." "No, Your Honor," Ryan admitted. "What makes this time different?" This was the moment David had prepared Ryan for, the chance to explain himself. 2 weeks ago, I was riding my motorcycle in Westside Park," Ryan began. "I was scaring people on purpose. I liked making them afraid." The judge listened without interrupting. "Then someone stopped me," Ryan continued. "He did not use force. He just stood in my way and said 4 words. 'Not here. Move on.'" Ryan took a deep breath. Those words made me think. For the first time, I saw what I was doing through other people's eyes. I saw that I was hurting people because I was hurting inside. The courtroom was very quiet now. Even the judge seemed interested. "I know I need to be punished for what I did," Ryan said. "But I also want a chance to make things right." The judge looked at some papers on her desk. "The prosecutor recommends 30 days in jail, a fine of $2,000, and community service." Ryan nodded. He had expected worse. However, the judge continued, "I have received some unusual letters about your case." She held up several papers. "Parents from the park, the ice cream vendor, even Officer Garcia has written to me. They all say the same thing, that you showed real remorse, that you cooperated fully, that you deserve another chance. Ryan was shocked. He had no idea people had written letters for him. And most surprising, the judge said, I received a letter from Mr. Jason Statham, who witnessed your actions that day. Ryan turned to look at Jason, who nodded slightly. Given these unusual circumstances, the judge said, I am going to offer you a different option. Instead of jail time, you will complete 500 hours of community service. You will attend anger management classes. You will pay for the damages you caused. And you will not ride a motorcycle for 6 months. Ryan could hardly believe what he was hearing. He had expected to go to jail. Do you accept these terms, Mr. Thompson? The judge asked. Yes, Your Honor, Ryan said quickly. Thank you. When the hearing was over, David shook Ryan's hand. You were lucky, he said. Now you need to make the most of this chance. Outside the courthouse, Ryan stood in the sunshine feeling strange. He was free. He had a second chance. He did not know what to do next. David shook his hand and left for another case. Ryan stood alone on the courthouse steps. Then he heard someone call his name. Ryan. He turned and saw Jason walking toward him. I wanted to say goodbye, Jason said. I have to fly back to London tonight. Ryan nodded. Thank you for the letter to the judge, and for the lawyer. I do not know how to pay you back. Jason shook his head. I do not want to be paid back. Just make good use of your second chance. Before Ryan could answer, a young woman approached them. She had a notebook and a camera. Mr. Statham, can I get a picture? I work for the local newspaper. Jason smiled politely. Sure, but only if Ryan is in it too. The reporter looked confused. Ryan, this man has a good story to tell, Jason said, putting his hand on Ryan's shoulder. Much more interesting than mine. The reporter took their picture. Then she asked questions. At first, Ryan let Jason do the talking. But soon, Ryan found himself telling his own story. How he had been angry after losing his brother. How he had taken out his anger on innocent people. How Jason had stopped him with just 4 words. The reporter wrote everything down. This will make a great article, she said when they finished. A story about second chances. After she left, Jason looked at his watch. I need to go to the airport now. Ryan had one more question. Those 4 words you said to me in the park. Why did they work? Why did I listen when I never listened to anyone else? Jason thought about it. Sometimes the right words at the right time can change everything. And maybe you were ready to hear them. They shook hands one last time. Good luck, Ryan, Jason said. Remember, move on, but move on to something better. As Jason walked away, Ryan felt a strange feeling. For the first time in 2 years, the heavy anger in his chest was gone. In its place was something new. Hope. The next day, Ryan started his community service at Westside Park. The very place where everything had changed for him. He wore an orange vest and picked up trash. Some people recognized him as the motorcycle man. They looked surprised to see him working in the park. The ice cream seller, whose cart Ryan had knocked over, was especially surprised. You are helping in the park now, he asked. Ryan nodded. 500 hours of community service. The ice cream seller studied him for a moment. Then he offered Ryan an ice cream cone. On the house, he said, everyone deserves a second chance. As weeks passed, Ryan kept working in the park. He fixed benches. He planted flowers. He painted over graffiti. The more he fixed things, the better he felt. Children who had once run away from him now waved when they saw him. Parents who had feared him now nodded hello. Even the park security guard, who had tried to stop Ryan that Sunday, became friendly. You are doing good work, the guard said one day. The park looks better than ever. Ryan worked hard at every day. In the evenings, he went to his anger management classes. He learned to talk about his feelings instead of acting on them. He learned about his brother's death and how it had changed him. Grief can make us do strange things. his counselor said, but it does not excuse hurting others. Ryan understood that now. He could miss his brother without making others suffer. One day, while Ryan was repairing a swing set, a small boy came up to him. It was the same boy who had spoken to him that day with Jason. "Are you still a bad man?" the boy asked. Ryan put down his tools and knelt to the boy's level. "I was never a bad man," he said. "I was a sad man who did bad things. Now I am trying to do good things instead." The boy seemed to think about this. Then he nodded. "My mom says people can change if they really want to." "Your mom is right," Ryan said. "And I really want to." The boy smiled and ran back to play. Ryan stood up and went back to fixing the swings. He had a lot more work to do, both in the park and in himself. 3 months passed. Ryan completed his anger management classes. He continued his community service in the park. He saved money from his job at the car shop. He was changing day by day. One Saturday morning, Ryan was working in the park as usual. He was building a new sandbox to replace the one he had ruined months ago. As he worked, he heard a familiar sound, the sound of a motorcycle. Ryan looked up. A group of bikers had stopped at the park entrance. They wore black leather jackets like the one Ryan used to wear. Their motorcycles were big and loud. For a moment, Ryan felt a pull toward them. He missed his bike. He missed the feeling of riding fast. He missed the power. One of the bikers revved his engine loudly. Some children playing nearby looked scared. A mother gathered her kids and moved them away from the noise. Ryan put down his shovel and walked toward the bikers. He was not sure what he would say or do, but he knew he needed to do something. "Hey," he called out to the bikers. "This is a park for families. Could you keep the noise down?" The lead biker, a big man with a long beard, looked at Ryan. "Who are you to tell us what to do?" Ryan took a deep breath. "I used to be just like you," he said, riding around, scaring people, thinking it made me tough. It did not. It just made me lonely and angry. The biker laughed. "You sound like my grandmother." The other bikers laughed too. Ryan did not get angry. He had learned to stay calm. "Look around," Ryan said, pointing to the families in the park. "See those kids? They just want to play. Those parents just want a nice day out. Why ruin it?" The big biker looked where Ryan was pointing. For a moment, his face softened. Then he shook his head. "Whatever, man." But instead of revving his engine again, he signaled to the other bikers. They turned their bikes around and rode away from the park. They were still loud, but they were leaving. The park security guard walked up to Ryan. "How did you do that?" he asked. Ryan shrugged. "I just talked to them. I understood them." The guard patted Ryan on the back. "You know, the park manager has been watching your work. He wants to talk to you." Later that day, Ryan met with Mr. Lopez, the park manager. Mr. Lopes was a kind man with gray hair and a friendly smile. "Ryan, your community service has been excellent," Mr. Lopes said. "I know you still have many hours to complete, but I have a proposal for you." Ryan waited to hear more. "We need someone to help manage the motorcycle parking area at the park," Mr. Lopes explained. "Someone who understands bikers, who can keep things orderly, who can make sure everyone follows the rules." Ryan was surprised. "You want me to work here? As a real employee?" Mr. Lopes nodded. "The pay is not much, but it is a real job, and you can count your work hours toward your community service." Ryan could hardly believe it. "But why me? After all the trouble I caused?" "Because you know both sides now," Mr. Lopes said. "You understand why rules matter, and you know how to talk to people who do not want to listen." Ryan accepted the job. The next day, he put on a park staff uniform instead of his orange community service vest. It felt good to be trusted. His first project was to design a better motorcycle parking area, one that was far from the playground but still convenient for bikers. He made signs explaining the rules in a friendly way. Word spread about the biker who now worked at the park. Some came just to meet him. Ryan used these chances to talk about riding safely, about respecting public spaces, about finding better ways to enjoy motorcycles. There are tracks outside the city where you can ride fast, he would tell them. There are clubs that organize safe rides in the country. There are better ways than scaring people in neighborhoods. Some bikers listened, some did not, but Ryan kept trying. Each person who listened was a small victory. One evening, as Ryan was leaving work, he saw a newspaper on a bench. On the front page was a familiar face, Jason Statham. The headline read, "Action star returns to our city for new movie." Ryan picked up the paper and read the article. Jason was back in town to film a new action movie. He would be in the city for 3 months. Ryan wondered if he would ever see Jason again. If he did, he had a lot to tell him. About how those 4 words had changed his life. About how he was different now. About how he was trying to help others change too. As Ryan walked home, he felt proud of how far he had come. From the angry biker everyone feared to a park employee everyone respected. All because someone had cared enough to stop him. 6 months had passed since that day in the park. Ryan had completed his community service hours. He had paid for all the damages he caused. He had kept his job at the park. And today was a special day. Today he could ride his motorcycle again. His bike had been stored in the police impound lot all this time. When Ryan went to pick it up, he almost did not recognize it. It seemed smaller than he remembered, less powerful. Or maybe Ryan was the one who had changed. "All yours again," said the officer as he handed Ryan the keys. "Try to stay out of trouble this time." Ryan started the engine. The familiar rumble felt good, but it did not make him feel powerful anymore. It was just a machine, not a weapon. He rode slowly through the city, following all traffic rules. He stopped at every red light. He gave way to pedestrians. It was a different way of riding, and Ryan found he enjoyed it. His final stop was West Side Park. He parked his motorcycle properly in the area he had designed himself. He put on his work uniform and began his regular duties. As Ryan was checking the playground equipment, he noticed a commotion at the park entrance. A crowd had gathered. Cameras were flashing. In the middle of it all was a familiar face. Jason Statham had come to the park with his family. Ryan watched from a distance. Jason was signing autographs and taking pictures with fans. His children played nearby, watched by their mother. They looked happy. Ryan was not sure if he should approach Jason. Maybe Jason would not remember him. Maybe Jason would not want to be reminded of the trouble Ryan had caused. As Ryan hesitated, a group of teenage boys on bicycles rode into the park. They were riding fast, zigzagging between people, doing tricks that made others jump out of the way. They were causing the same kind of trouble Ryan once did. The park security guard tried to stop them, but the boys just laughed and rode around him. People were getting annoyed. Some were leaving the park. Ryan knew he had to do something. He walked toward the boys. They saw his park uniform and laughed. "What are you going to do, parkman?" One boy taunted. "Call the police." Ryan did not get angry. He did not threaten them. Instead, he said, "Can we talk for a minute? Just talk." Something in Ryan's voice made the boys pause. The leader of the group, a boy about 15 years old, stopped his bike in front of Ryan. "Talk about what?" Ryan pointed to a bench nearby. "About why you are really doing this. About what you are looking for." The boy looked suspicious, but after a moment, he nodded to his friends and followed Ryan to the bench. The other boys waited nearby, watching. Ryan sat down with the boy. "I used to be just like you," he began. "I used to cause trouble in this very park." The boy looked surprised. "You? But you work here." Ryan nodded. "Now I do. But 6 months ago, I was the scary biker everyone ran from." He told the boy his story, about his anger after losing his brother, about Jason stopping him, about his journey to change himself. As he talked, the boy's face softened. "I lost my dad last year," the boy admitted. "Mom works all the time now." No one has time for me. Ryan listened. He understood the boy's pain. Causing trouble gets attention, he said, but not the kind that helps. Trust me, I know. They talked for a long time. The other boys eventually came closer to listen. Ryan did not preach or lecture. He just shared his experience and listened to theirs. Finally, the lead boy stood up. We will try to be more careful, he said. Maybe we could help fix some of the stuff we messed up. Ryan smiled. Come back tomorrow after school. I can set you up with some work to do. As the boys rode away, much more carefully this time, Ryan noticed someone watching him. It was Jason. That was impressive, Jason said, walking over. You have a way with words yourself. Ryan felt his face get warm. I learned from the best. Jason smiled. I saw your picture in the paper, the biker who became a park hero. I knew you would make good on your second chance. Those 4 words you said to me changed everything. Ryan told him. Not here. Move on. I moved on to something better, just like you said. They talked for a while, catching up on the past 6 months. Jason was proud of Ryan's progress. Ryan was grateful for Jason's help. Before leaving, Jason asked, Do you still ride your motorcycle? Ryan nodded. I just got it back today, but I ride differently now. There is a charity ride next weekend, Jason said, for children who have lost parents. Bikers from all over the city will ride together to raise money. Want to join us? Ryan smiled. I would be honored. As they shook hands goodbye, Ryan realized his life had come full circle. The park where his old life ended was where his new life began. And now he was helping others find their way too. All because someone cared enough to say 4 simple words that changed everything.